Thanks for staying with us. Still the breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time to go to the press to see what is new on the press or in the press. So let's begin with introducing our guest for this morning, Mr. Tunde Kolawole, a legal practitioner and a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, my brother.
All right, we'll begin with Business NG. The Business NG leads with fuel price tension persists as Dangote Refinery shifts focus to U.S. exports. The writer is saying fuel pricing controversy deepens, focus to U.S. export raise eyebrows, and government delays market jitters. Okay, that same story is on the Punch newspaper. Dollar for petrol. Marketers protest. Dangote exports fuel to U.S. and others. I'd like you to comment on that.
Well, the export of fuel by Dangote Refinery, I think is a very good development for us as a nation, especially if the money is repatriated back to Nigeria. When it is repatriated, it will kind of give a currency to the country, and furthermore, Dangote will most likely pay some taxes and commissions on whatever money is sent from abroad. Sooner than later, I suspect that the other refineries that have been built will also follow suit. So, the arrival of Dangote in the international market, especially supplying U.S. with the fuel product, for me, it's plus for us as a nation. That is a major principle. If the fuel from Dangote Refinery is not good, you can be sure that the U.S. market will not be accepting it. And if the U.S. market is accepting it, you can also be sure that other markets around the world will not hesitate to start demanding for Dangote Refinery because of the high standards that are maintained in places like U.S. and Europe. So I think it's good development for us.
But it's good development on the one hand, but the fear is in the market here in Nigeria. What happens to our own market? Because it seemed as if because of the presence of Dangote Refinery, we will have some lease of life, as we're seeing it play out in the few weeks that have passed. You know, price war here and there, the availability of the product, even at times that are peak periods and all that. And now the market, the ready market in the U.S., which is very, very large, is now accepting or collecting what could have been fuel for us. Do you think that it will affect the market here in Nigeria? That's a simple question I'd like to ask.
Hello?
Do you think that export will affect the Nigerian market?
What you are saying, the noise in the back.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly now.
Yes. So now there's market in the U.S., which is a very, very large one. How do you think that will impact on the local market here? Because Dangote will now be concentrating on that, making dollars, even though you say it's a good thing for Nigeria as a nation. Is it a good thing also for the Nigerian consumers?
Well, it may not be too good for the Nigerian consumer if Dangote, for example, take a decision to be exporting a large chunk of whatever it produces to the U.S. market. But then we must remember that the impression that the Dangote people are giving us is that if they are doing full capacity, the Nigerian market cannot take everything. So if the Nigerian market cannot take everything, if they are doing full production and water, it will always be better and good for us as a nation that whatever expenses are produced can be exported, not just to the U.S., but to other countries of the world. And we must also remember that the regulatory authorities may have a role to play in this. If, for example, they make a policy that whatever Dangote produces, a certain percentage should come to the local market and wear away. Dangote will have no option than to abide by whatever policy decisions are taken by the government. Don't forget that the government has a percentage in that refinery, no matter how small it may be. And then they say they do have about 7%. Furthermore, remember that the country has undertaken to be supplying crude oil directly to the Dangote refinery. So that doesn't have to be importing crude oil to manufacture into refined products. So if the country is good enough, if the country is magnanimous enough to be supplying Dangote crude oil at a local rate in the naira, it will only be good enough that the Dangote to replicate the country's gesture by making sure that sufficient quantity is supplied to the local market for consumption before the export the excess of whatever it is produced. So it's a balancing act. I am sure the regulatory authority and the government will be able to handle the situation such that the domestic market will not have to suffer. But remember also that there are some other modular refineries that have started their production, and some other ones like the Bua refinery, revving up sooner than later or very soon. They enter the market. So I don't think the country will revert back to the old regime we want to use to have in the past, with the efforts that have been made in the different directions to make sure there is sufficient products all over the country. So the regulatory authority should work on that and don't prefer the regime of capital in the country. What I want to say, when I was going out last Saturday, I see some queue in some filling stations on the route by which I passed. What is responsible for it, I wouldn't know. But I don't think it's because the Dangote has started exporting that there wouldn't be enough product for local consumption.
Okay. We'll move from the Business NG to The Guardian. The Guardian leads with mixed reactions trail proposal to hold general elections in one day. What do you think about that? From presidential to local government election will be held on one day.
Well, honestly speaking, it would have been the best to do, even though it could be cumbersome, for people who are not too literate, it could also be cumbersome for INEC that will do the counting. The logistic problems will be enormous. It means that we might be given about 5 ballot papers on there and about for the House of Reps, for the House of Assembly, for the governor, for the president and all that. People will be dealing with about 4 ballot papers in one go. And if you also you have to use the Viber, that will solve a lot of challenges. But in terms of accountability, in terms of making sure that whatever votes people cast reflect their wishes and all that would have been the best thing. It should not leave room for manipulation and such. Both sides that have been the base of this electoral process will also be reduced as more. If INEC has the capacity to handle the logistics, and if our people are enlightened and sensitized, they are educated on how to handle that kind of voting through different platforms, the radio, the television, the social media, and all that. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea. We've done it in the past successfully. I think we can still do it again, all depending on the attitude of INEC and their capacity to handle the logistics of one-day voting.
I thought by now they should be talking about more. They should be talking more about electronic voting than manual voting and all that, because in some other places it is in such a way that you don't even need to cancel work for a day to come and do what you're supposed to do. You can always vote. Sometimes people even post their votes to where they should go. So I thought they would have a better model to voting that would be more seamless and more easy for people to do or to use than to be talking about all this.
Honestly speaking, I agree with you. After all, Madam Rufai tried electronic voting and the local government election in Kaduna when he was the governor, and it was successful. And there are also no complaints that the voters couldn't handle it, especially those who are not illiterate. So if it is done at a microcosm level in Kaduna State, and it is successful, one would have expected that INEC will begin to prepare electronic voting system, maybe in a phased-out person. I mean, starting from maybe House of Reps or Federal Assembly or the governorship until they perfect the situation. The kind of experiment we have to do electronic voting. If police they will not do it on the global level, I mean at the national level, what happens? But the challenge is this, like Madam Rufai said, when he tried that electronic voting, he said some other state governors came to him to ask him questions to understand the process. But when they saw that it will not most likely leave room for rigging, all of them who have said they will do disembark from it. They refuse to go by that way or another because they think the integrity of the election, it will be difficult to compromise the integrity of the election. And if the integrity of the election is not compromised, they will most likely win in their respective states. So, if the party in power today and the other political parties in the country are not afraid that it will be difficult to rig when electronic voting is done and all that, I am sure INEC should be able to handle the situation. It just depends on our airline. The credibility of election doesn't matter to them. So, we should appeal to the airline to let things work the way it should work. But most of them, they believe is that they'll be out of business if we are able to protect the integrity of the election. If we are able to stop both sides. If we are able to stop the ballot box
snatching. Yeah.
If we are able to stop them from snatching ballot boxes, I think the result of this, electronic voting will leave little room for that.
Okay, well, let's move to the Punch newspaper. The leading headline here is also a headline in all other newspapers that we are looking at today. Sexual harassment hearing. Senators Ezekwesili clash. INEC faults Natasha's recall process. The writer is saying ex-minister slams Senate over bias in sexual harassment case, hearing adjourned indefinitely. So the headline everywhere is the INEC has rejected the recall petition that has been presented to it by supposed constituents of the Kogi Senatorial District that Natasha should be recalled and all that. So there was this hearing, there was a shouting match more or less between former Minister of Education Obi Ezekwesili and some senators, and she was accusing them of bias and all that, but you know the drill, you know the story. I'd like you to talk about the petition for the recall of Senator Natasha Akpoti and the issues that are surrounding the hearings and her punishments and everything that you'd like to comment about.
Well, recalling a senator or a House of Reps member or a House of Assembly member is a very, very cumbersome process. You have to collect signatures, and then the signatures have to be verified by INEC. And I think the number of signatures that you have to collect is not a small one. And the logistics of doing that, the finances that are required, getting INEC to also supervise such processes, like I earlier on said, is a very cumbersome process. Remember that it was tried before when certain persons tried to recall Senator Dino Melaye, who incidentally too happened to come from Kogi as a senator at that period in time. Also remember that the person that was said to be behind his recall was also the former governor of Kogi State, who is also said to be supporting the recall of Senator Natasha Akpoti this time around. The said governor had tried his hand in the past on it with the Dino Melaye issue. He's doing it the second time and also failing the second time. This tells you that it's not an easy thing to recall somebody either in the Senate, the National Assembly, or the Houses of Assembly. But with that as it may, you may ask yourself, for what purpose or what justification will anybody have to start making moves to recall Senator Natasha? If the senator has to be recalled, it is the people, those who voted for him, people in his constituency, the people in his senatorial district, that will do a letter to INEC and say, look, we are not satisfied with this person's performance. He's not been representing us well, and we want you to set in motion the processes of recalling the senator. But this time around, that is not what happened. Certain forces in Abuja, because of the issues that Senator Natasha has with the Senate President, have now taken it upon themselves to initiate a recall process against the ladies. For God's sake, people should have the fear of God. And people should stop making a mockery of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The whole world is looking at us. The owners' lives are not to behave like civilized people. Let this history process and the cases in court run their full processes. After you have done with that, then you can think about whatever next step you want to take against this lady. But for God's sake, I am not too sure that this lady has committed any offense or any misconduct that will warrant a recall. A fight or a dispute between two senators should not automatically lead to recalling a fellow senator, because we must remember that Senator Natasha Akpoti and the Senate President are the same at the National Assembly, and in the eyes of the law, they are just a first among equals. Being a Senate President is just being first among equals. He should ordinarily not confer any unnecessary protection or any unnecessary privileges or any other
you're talking like a Nigerian.
The Senate President can be impeached tomorrow, and some other person will step into it.
You're talking like a patriotic Nigerian. Mr. Kolawole, you're talking like a patriotic Nigerian. You're talking like a legal luminary. You're talking like a moral person, and I don't know. You're saying that the process to recalling a senator, a sitting senator, is cumbersome. That's also how cumbersome, or even more, the declaration of a state of emergency in any state. All those processes were sidelined, and a state of emergency was declared in Rivers State. And you could hear in the videos that came from the National Assembly when they were saying nothing will happen, and nothing is happening, as it were. So they must have learned from the best to do what they want to do and think that nothing will happen. That is the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria right now. You can do anything you like so long as you're in power, nothing will happen. So I don't know where you're saying the right thing should be done. Maybe INEC has done the right thing and said they are rejecting this thing, and maybe that's one of the right things that can be done. But we've had presidents of people in power doing things with impunity, and really nothing happened. So I don't know where we're heading. Especially worrisome is the fact that anytime anybody says something about the fact that democracy may be losing its bite in Nigeria, the presidency attacks that person and says that the person doesn't know what they're saying. There's nothing like looking inwards. There's nothing like taking criticisms and seeing how improvements can be made. It's just that if you say anything against this government, you are a bad person and you should be warned. Because I heard a presidential aide just a few days ago telling another presidential candidate of a different party in the 2023 general elections to be careful what he says. The same kind of warning that we heard a few months ago, and nothing happened. So I'm just worried for Nigeria. I don't know if you have anything that is giving you confidence.
Everybody should be worried. When you look at the position of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you find out that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is about the most powerful president that we have in the world. Not even the President of the United States of America is as powerful as our president, given the state of the control of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of people have been calling for the petitioning or overhaul or amendment, total amendment of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because that Constitution was given to us as the military. And you and I know that the military are not friends of democracy.
Okay, well, so, Mr. Kolawole, it's unfortunate we have to end at this point, but at some point I just don't believe that is the constitution that is the problem in Nigeria, because some things spelled out in the constitution are never adhered to, and we keep quiet about it. The constitution spells out a lot of things that the president will overlook, the governors will overlook, even the councillors will overlook, and then, so what are we amending the constitution for when we cannot even respect it? That's a problem in Nigeria. But like I said, this is where we have to draw the curtain, and I hope that we can have answers to the problems of Nigeria one day, and we'll see the finger of God performing in our country, since we believe so much in God and forget to do what our own things, our own actions should be. So we thank you for your time this morning and hope that you're going to have a wonderful day.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We've been talking with Mr.
Do
Tunde.
have a lovely day.
You too, you too. We've been talking with Mr. Tunde Kolawole, a legal practitioner, and we were trying to make sense of some of these headlines that we have on our national dailies. Like we say every time, go get a paper and read for yourself, or go to the internet and look for news about Nigeria and read, so that you know where you can contribute to your own quota to make Nigeria better, or argue meaningfully when you're doing. When you go to the social media and you see someone raising a point, no matter how good that point would be, some people will just come and start to insult your family and your lineage. Everybody in that space will be insulted without any solution given to the problem. And that tells you two things. Either the person is absolutely ignorant or just plain wicked. Which one are you? Just get informed and also contribute to building Nigeria. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll be talking about something else on our first hot topic. Stay with us.